Hey there. I got a message on Facebook today, and I thought, Uko, your question was so innocent, so much everybody's question, that I really wanted to take a few minutes here in this cozy Saturday evening to reply to you. Let me read your question first. I've just watched We Never Anticipate Resistance, which is a video on YouTube. Wow, it was so good to hear what you were saying. Thank you. I was once quite, for a long time, for years, in this space of oneness, or however we want to call this, seemingly without fear. And there was trust and everything seemed possible and open. But the little I crashed back, the most painful time in my life, from heaven to hell. Now there is mostly struggle and fear, and some moments of these highs and clarity. I really want it back. What to do? Okay, so I'm spending my Saturday evening replying to you because that's really just a great question. As you can see, it's not a whole lot of work for me. We've got a video camera constantly in use, so it's very easy to do this. So, there is a book that was written a long time ago by a Zen master, the third Zen patriarch. His name was Sosan. He wrote a beautiful book called Sin Sing Ming. Live neither in the entanglements of outer things nor in inner feelings of emptiness. Be serene in the oneness of things, and such erroneous views will disappear by themselves. I think one of the reasons I really wanted to take the time to answer your question so much was the innocence of your attitude. You were so surprised when I even replied to you on Facebook. So wow. And so unassuming. But actually think about it. Why am I here? Why do I do this stuff? Why do I write blogs and make videos and everything? Because this is what I do. I was lucky enough to have a great coach, I suppose, in India many years ago. He asked me to pass this on. This is how I do it. So if you take the time to write to me, I'll take the time to answer. So you see, what you're describing in your email, although I really, really do understand, and I've really walked down those paths many times and very much myself, what you're describing is not exactly a state of oneness. It's a state of preference, you see. It's subtle, but you're preferring what you're calling oneness and emptiness to something else. You're preferring one state over another. How do I know that's true? Because you say that when the I came crashing back, it was the most painful time of my life. What you're describing is preferring one condition over another. And that, essentially, is, we could say, the cause of our suffering. That's the cause of contraction, of tension, is preferring one thing over another. Now, of course, we all do that. It's the nature of the collective mind. But imagine what it would be like for a moment to let that go. Imagine what it would be like, Udo, to accept the spaciousness, just like you might accept a vast and calm ocean, but also to accept the feeling of I, just as you might accept a wave in the ocean. Imagine what it would be like to hold no preference for one over the other. As you may know, I don't describe myself anymore as a spiritual teacher. I used to a long time ago. I didn't like the hierarchy of it. I didn't like the assumption that one person was better than another. I'm a good facilitator, but as far as our experience, we're the same. So now, I'm an awakening coach, and I train other people to be facilitators of awakening. So in this approach called awakening coaching, the taste of oneness which you're describing is just one small part of awakening coaching. It's just one aspect of it, to be introduced to spaciousness, for the attention to return back to recognizing the sky as much as the waves. But that is very unstable. In Ken Wilber's language, that would be a state rather than a stage of development, you see. It's a temporary state, a fleeting high. It's not integrated or embodied or grounded. What happens after we are introduced to spaciousness is how this can be lived. And this is where it becomes more challenging, but also much more rewarding. How can this spaciousness be lived in your sexuality, in your parenting, in your friendships, in your business relationships, in your relationship to money, in your body, and creativity, and art, and social and political action, all of the things that make up a human life? The key to allowing this spaciousness to be embodied is in the recognition of the omnipresence of resistance in consciousness. To recognize there is almost everything we see or touch or feel is met with some kind of resistance, either a grasping or a pushing away. The recognition of resistance and the dissolving of resistance is a completely different affair than touching into spaciousness. Having feelings of oneness, even if they're sustained for many years as you're describing, does not even begin the process of recognizing resistance and letting it go. The way to practice recognizing resistance and letting it go is not hanging out in spaciousness, actually. It's much more to be found in living life. For me, a lot of my greatest training was in being a parent to my boys, raising two boys a lot of the time on my own. I really hit up against resistance. When they'd wake up in the middle of the night with a fever, and I have to get up and deal with it, and then be up early the next morning to drive the other child to school, and then do a day's work, I found resistance. And that's where I learned the art of skiing, the art of flowing with things, of letting everything be okay. This is a different kind of training, you see. This is where we have to actually let go of our attachments to spaciousness, of limitlessness, of oneness, of all these high states, and actually learn the art of experiencing things as they are. This is doable, it's trainable, it's easy. What I'd love for you to do is go to my website, which is the website about Awakening Coaching, awakeningcoachingtraining.com, and take the 5 days of tips and tools, which is free, and it will explain to you there some of the tools we use and even demonstrate them, so you can understand that recognizing spaciousness is an essential beginning. Recognizing your true nature, recognizing oneness is an essential beginning. But learning to stay present with everything as it is actually the way that that beginning becomes stabilized. I hope this has been helpful to you. You will know when you have moved more deeply in the direction I'm pointing you in, when this distinction disappears for you. When resting in states of what you call oneness or highs is just as interesting, but also just as boring as getting caught in the story of the I. It's all good. It's all part of the ride. It's all why you came, why you were embodied. Learn to be present with every experience, the highs and the lows, as equally interesting flavors of ice cream. And that is the real nature of freedom.